UFC 327, Jiri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg, headlining, and a great big event coming up this weekend. And so we're going to take a look at all the matchups, do our picks, talk about the fights. Yeah, so starting off with Charles Radtke and Francisco Prado. Matchup of the mid fighters at welterweight. Honestly, Radtke, I have a little more faith in just because he's had a couple wins. And I think with Prado, I really can't remember the last time he won, if he won one. I know he's lost to fighters like Zell Huber, that being like a notable one where it's like, how do you lose to Zell Huber nowadays? I mean, like, he just doesn't look to be good at all. So I see, Radtke implementing his wrestling, second round, looking to get a finish because he does go for the finish. I will say he's a little more dangerous, and I think submission win second round is likely what I see happening. Now, Kelvin, Gastelum, Vicente, Luque, another couple mid fighters. But these guys, at least at some point, were something. And I think at the end, it is a good matchup because you've got a couple answers to like look at. So is Luque still there? Is Luque deep down? Are you still wanting to fight? Because, he's on a skid. He's not ever going to get to that title. But like, there was a time where he was very dangerous. And I mean, he's still dangerous. Any fighter is. But Kelvin Gastelum, at least, his fat ass has the ability to, stop a takedown. Has never been finished. His chin is insane. It's still insane. I think it's the tacos, man. I could say it. I'm Mexican, right? But having that extra weight on you, you can't even use the neck one. He, because they say that like when you have like a really big neck, or I should say traps, you could take a shot. But honestly, no. It's just most of it goes to the belly, and he has it in him to take the shots. Luque can bring in the submission game. That's where it's dangerous for Gastelum. But I don't even think it'll get to that point. So I think a decision win with Gastelum is really where I see this going. He doesn't finish fights anymore himself, but he will survive the big shots. And on the feet, he's fast. He still has that 1-2 very quick. And yeah, I'm going to go with Gastelum decision. Chris Padilla versus Marquel Mederos. So a good matchup. Padilla coming off that win over Bonfim, the shittier brother. And then Mederos, I think he's won his few fights in the UFC as well. Now, I think Chris Padilla, although his record isn't the greatest, he's definitely a good, well-rounded fighter. And I think more well-rounded over Mederos. Mederos has very good, striking and can mix it up in that sense. But on the ground, if he gets taken down, I think Padilla is going to be able to rain it down on him and, really bring some damage because that's how he got the win over Bonfim. And, I think Padilla has more well-rounded skills. So I'm going to go with a Padilla decision win. Mederos will show up, do pretty good, but, yeah, probably will lose by a round. Tatiana, Suarez, Loopy, Godinez. Now, this one's interesting. They're both wrestlers. They're both Latina, I think, obviously. And on one hand, you've got Suarez, who's a little taller, a little bigger, very good wrestler. But I think on the feet, she definitely looks amateur. Loopy Godinez, similar. She's got good wrestling. She's smaller, though. But I think she's very skilled. She comes in with a good game plan. And although she's lost a couple fights, she's also very, consistent, has been fighting at least, twice a year, I think, since being in the UFC. So I honestly think that this fight might stay on the feet. And if there is anyone that could out-wrestle the other, it's going to be Suarez. But I think Godinez can have it in her to keep it on the feet, win some points. And before we know it, yeah, she'll be up a round or two. So I'm going to go with Godinez winning a decision win over Suarez. Now, Mateusz Gamrot versus Esteban Ribovics. So this one's fun as well. A lot of good matchups, right? Some names in there that we definitely like to see. And, Gamrot's coming back from that Oliveira loss, which we're not going to really bring his stock too down from that because it was last-minute notice. He came in, within a couple of days to at most a week. And I think it might have been, 3 or 4 days. But he did get finished, but Oliveira still has it in him. And Esteban Ribovics, I don't think his wins have aged the best. We are looking a little sus, right? Nothing proven where Gamrot is proven. You know that he will lose to the very best, but I think that at the end, The experience and who he's lost to are fighters that I don't think Ribovics can really touch right now. Maybe down the line, but I'm going to go with Gamrot winning a decision as well. Kevin Holland and Randy Brown. So this one's funny. We just saw Kevin Holland, I guess, bail out D-Rod. Good for him. He wants that rematch, but I think he might be in trouble here because Randy Brown, although he's also, hit or miss himself as well, I think his skills are probably not the best or in favor of Holland. I think Holland is going to get caught. He sometimes keeps his hands down. Randy Brown matches him in the size and length, so I honestly see him catching him at the end of one of those shots, dropping him, getting that TKO finish on Holland in the first round. And, I mean, yeah, sure, you bail out D-Rod, go ahead and get that rematch, but if you lose that one, that's 4 in a row. You know what I mean? So I see Randy Brown catching him. I don't know. Holland has the ability to get, like, submission wins. He can also catch Brown. I just think Brown will manage the distance well, and then, yeah, he'll catch Holland. Patricio Pitbull, Aaron Pico. This one is the headliner of the prelim. So, the two fighters from former organizations and smaller organizations where they've come to look a little sus and probably kind of not too good, or level of UFC at least. They can win some matchups, I think, and I see that more on Aaron Pico's side. So I actually think he's gonna win this. I say that although he got caught and finished in brutal fashion, right, from Murphy, I just think that he was doing pretty good up until that point, and he made a mistake with how he entered that take, going for that takedown. It was silly. If you slow it down, just such amateurish like movements, and Murphy clocked him real good, perfect. And I think with Pitbull though, 38. He won a fight versus Ige that didn't do anything for him. Like, in the end, it was a boring hold on the top position on the ground and just ride out a decision. And I think with Pico, he's gonna have his wrestling to counter Pitbull, and on the feet, I think will be the one to do more damage on Pitbull. And what did I say that was gonna be? I think it's gonna be a decision win for him as well. So yeah, it'll be cool though to see. Maybe it can go Pitbull's route, but I just don't see it that way. I think Pico, unless his chin is just like gone, which could have been the case. So you never know. But anyways, moving on. We're gonna go with Pico decision. Cup Swanson, Nate Landwehr. This is Cup Swanson's retirement fight, and this one's a good matchup. Definitely, I think the UFC knows what they're doing with this one because you've got Landwehr who either gets finished or finishes, and he's strong off the gate. I think that Cup Swanson, he's been out for a couple years, I think, or has it been like about a year? Oh no, a couple years, 2024, December of 2024, but still, it's been a while, and the rust is bound to be there, but I think that he's been coaching, I think, too. So he's been in the game. It's not like he's just, not in it, but I think he's going to be able to take out Landwehr. He's going to have a good retirement fight. I just think Landwehr, he's also on the decline, and he's fun, he's exciting, especially on the mic, but Swanson, I think a second round like body shot will be the beginning of the end for Landwehr. And TKO finish, Swanson second round. All right, Dominick Reyes, Johnny Walker. This is a hilarious matchup. I've seen it everywhere, so I'm sure you're probably going to hear this for the 10th time, but literally this might be the first time we'll see two fighters get KO'd at the same time. And like, if there was ever a time where that could happen, this might be the time to put money on it because, these two have the worst chins. They're both light heavyweight fighters where they're dangerous. They're tall, long, and have power. Reyes more with that left hand, so that left straight. He has good wrestling, so he could counter anything Walker might want to bring his way. Walker, though, has some of those weird flying knees, and the range on him is crazy. But I think with him, he doesn't have the greatest hands. I think his hands lack it. He can throw, like I said, nasty knees, some good leg kicks. He's tall, rangy, but I think Reyes came in horrible in his last fight. Versus Ulberg, just the worst I've seen him ever. And I'm looking at like maybe if I go back 2 years in general, like for both of their careers, Dominick Reyes has had a better 2 years than I think Walker has. So in that light, I think Walker is going to get caught, and it's going to be a first-round KO for Reyes. Looking better than before. Now, do I think he's champion? No, but I think he gets the KO win. And one thing as well that you could probably bet on is it's going to be a very funny KO. So anyways, Dominick Reyes round 1 KO. Curtis Blaydes, Josh Hokit. So I've seen a lot about Hokit. Dude's very cringy, but whatever. We've seen it before. He's a weird, interesting character. But Blaydes, he's a vet. He's a gatekeeper. You know, he loses the big matchups, and he's not gonna be champion. But believe it or not, he's probably got 5th spot on lock. He might just be the 5th best heavyweight in the world, because we've seen it time and time again, right? The guys moving up in the rankings. You think they're gonna be the next potential champion, and then Curtis Blaydes just brings him back to the back of the line. And I think Hokit, being a similar style to Blaydes, wrestle. They're gonna both want to wrestle. I think Blaydes has a size advantage. He's more proven on the feet. Hokit looks to be dangerous. He looks to put the pressure. But let's also not forget that he's fighting absolute cans. And the first 2 fights he's had in the UFC, nothing of note has been really shown there. So I think he's won, but I'm saying they don't have any impact on what I think of him. And I think Blaydes, although he's, lost some, I'm going to favor him in this one. Decision win, though. 2 rounds to 1. Maybe even 3 rounds to 0. But anyways, Azamat Murzakanov, Paulo Costa. This one is interesting and very exciting for me. I am a fan of Costa, but I also think that people are overlooking Costa a bit, thinking that he's probably going to lose this one. Now, it's very interesting because, like, on one hand, you got Azamat, who's a power, he's knocked out everyone and is on a streak, number 6 in the world at light heavyweight. He's undersized, but yet he does it, right? But it's his speed. And I think with Costa moving up, he, for one, is a big guy already. He's never had power, but one thing he has better than most in general is a chin. So to survive Azamat, I have a good feeling about that. I think he will survive the initial round or 2. And I can really see a different Costa. You could go back to when he fought, what was his name? Vettori. He was like 220. You could look at that maybe as a light heavyweight comparison to this, where he's going to look probably better, in better shape, because it's not like, it's a missed weight. This is him at light heavyweight, building up and hopefully not having to cut too much weight. And if he does, in the end, it's probably going to be easier than middleweight. I think it's going to be a good showing for Costa. I actually think he gets a decision win with a 2 rounds to 1. Azamat maybe on his side towards the first part of the fight, but towards the end, Costa maybe just scrapping out a good win, which would put him in the top 6. So we'll go with Costa. Jiri Prochazka and Carlos Ulberg, the main event. The light heavyweight title on the line, and this is Jiri's 4th attempt. I made a TikTok and short, and talking about how it's like that. We don't really see this too often, right? Almost half your fights being title shots or title fights is insane, and they're not just like, they've all been technically title shots, because he had to vacate his title at one point, and then he got that fight versus Pereira, and then got a rematch, and now he's getting this fight versus Ulberg. So. And then he, of course, initially won it against Teixeira. But still, this is his 4th attempt. And it's well-deserving, man. He's coming off 2 fights where he beat Roundtree and Jamal Hill, former challengers of the title, right? So, great wins. And on Carlos's side, he has a couple wins as well. Good wins. He beat Jan, former champion. But he also recently knocked out Reyes, where I think Reyes, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, just did not look good at all. There had to have been some kind of injury. There had to have been something. He was hesitant. He just didn't show anything. And Ulberg, just lit him up and got him out in the first round. I don't think that's going to happen with Prochazka. Plus, Ulberg is looking horrible. There's some freaking media pics that came out this week, and maybe they're fake, so maybe I got there, but I honestly feel like if that's how he looks, something might be up with him too. And yeah, I think Jiri is looking the best he's ever looked. He sounds very confident. He sounds like he's on a mission. He was on Aiden's stream recently, which I did watch, and he even talked about his fight versus Roundtree recently that he had. mistakes he made, and that, he did learn from that, and that he wants to apply it on this one, where he wants to start from the beginning, more aggressive, and not wait to get there. Now, this is a 5-round fight, but that might favor him, man. If Ulberg is injured or just out of shape, not looking the best, Jiri, you can count on your cardio probably lasting past Ulberg. So, going in aggressive may not be the worst idea, right? You know that you'll probably come out on top if it does drag out to the later rounds. But anyways, I'm going to go with Jiri, and I'm going to go with a 3rd round TKO or even a submission. I do think Carlos will have some moments. He's been good. We can't take that away from him, but I think with Ulberg, the moments aren't going to be enough for Prochazka to get taken out. Like Jiri, he's shown to be a warrior. It doesn't matter. Like, he'll get hit, but he will bounce back, and he'll even mix in his wrestling. Another area that I don't think Ulberg has been tested on enough, and Jiri does have wrestling. I mean, we saw it against Teixeira. I know this is a few years back. I know that was an aging Teixeira, but to do that with Teixeira, who has made Pereira like a different fighter, Belguri or whatever, all that side, they're doing really good with the wrestling, and countering the wrestling. And I think with Jiri, he beat him. He beat Teixeira, and I think we could see that test. He also brought that up on Aiden's Ross's stream, that he might have to mix it up too, and that he's not afraid to do that, and he's okay with that. So I'm very, very confident in Jiri. I'm seeing a 3rd round submission, actually. Yeah, I see a submission win. But that's it, man. This is going to be a crazy card. Let me know who you think wins these matchups, and yeah, which is your favorite matchup out of them all. But anyways, peace.